Did you know that in 1925, Swedish authorities discovered an entire class of students had vanished without a trace? But that's not even the strangest part of this haunting tale. I found these dusty documents while researching Stockholm's abandoned D. Sturmalm school. As a retired teacher myself, I was drawn to the yellowed class photos from 1921. That's when I saw her, my neighbor Maria, looking exactly as she does today. She hasn't aged a day in over 100 years. I've watched her through my window at night, standing motionless in the snow for hours. Sometimes she whispers to herself in ancient Swedish, her breath never creating steam in the freezing air. Last week, I followed her to the old school building. Through the cracked windows, I saw her sitting at a desk, surrounded by shadowy figures of children, all wearing 1920s clothing. The truth chilled me to my bone. The registry showed that Maria and 27 students disappeared during a harsh winter storm in 1921. Their bodies were never found. But if Maria died back then, who's living next door to me? Yesterday, she left a note on my door. Join our class. We've been waiting for a teacher. Have you ever seen someone who doesn't age? Share your story in the comments below. Have you heard about the cursed stage of Brasov's Royal Theatre, where performers are trapped in an endless show? Their screams still echo today. In 1872, Father Constantin discovered ancient markings beneath the theatre's wooden stage. The symbols formed a perfect circle, carved deep into stone foundations dating back centuries. As he traced the demonic patterns, his fingers began to bleed without explanation. Through recovered church records, Constantin learned of a secret society of Victorian actors who performed rituals after midnight. They would sacrifice small animals while reciting forgotten texts, believing it would enhance their performances. But one summer night, something went terribly wrong. All 23 performers vanished during their final act, leaving only their costumes scattered across the stage, still warm to the touch. Today, the theater stands as Romania's darkest secret. Visitors report seeing shadowy figures in Victorian dress dancing through walls. Local historians found Constantin's final journal entry, which reads, "The souls of the actors weren't taken, they were traded. Each night they perform their final show for an audience that isn't human." Have you ever visited an old theater at night? Share your experience below, but remember, if you hear applause when the seats are empty, don't take a bow. Did you know that in 1983, a horror writer's manuscript about ancient rituals mysteriously disappeared along with its author at Dublin's infamous Blackwood Hotel? What the security tapes revealed will haunt you forever. Through the shadows of dawn, aspiring author James McKenna documented strange activities from his third-floor window. Every morning at precisely 5:43 a.m., hotel staff would gather in the moonlit courtyard wearing dark robes, performing what appeared to be ancient Celtic ceremonies. The chanting grew louder each day, and McKenna noticed bizarre symbols appearing on his room walls, though he never wrote them. Hotel records show he frantically called the front desk about whispers coming from inside his mirrors. But when security checked, they found nothing unusual. On the 7th morning, the security footage shows McKenna watching from his window as usual. But this time, his silhouette suddenly vanishes, only to reappear in the courtyard below, joining the circle of hooded figures. The final frame shows him looking directly into the camera, his eyes completely black, before all cameras simultaneously cut out. When police arrived, they found only his unfinished manuscript, the last page containing a ritual that matches exactly what the hotel staff performed. Have you ever checked what's happening outside your hotel window at dawn? Share your creepiest hotel experiences below. Did you know that in 1921, 3 investigators went mad simultaneously after visiting Toronto's Gibraltar Point Lighthouse? Let me tell you what really happened there. The autumn winds howled around the solitary lighthouse as keeper Thomas Maxwell descended into the musty basement for his routine check. Among cobwebs and darkness, he discovered ancient Sanskrit scrolls hidden behind crumbling walls. That night, the whispers began. Maxwell's journal entries grew increasingly disturbing. He wrote about ritual markings appearing on the lighthouse walls and voices that spoke in forgotten tongues. The lantern room became his obsession. He claimed the light wasn't reaching the ships anymore, consumed by something in the darkness. When Maxwell vanished, 3 investigators arrived to examine the case. They found his final journal entry. "They're in the walls. They've always been in the walls. The light feeds them." Within weeks, all 3 men were found in different locations, muttering the same chant in perfect Sanskrit. Their psychiatric records reveal they had never studied the language. The lighthouse still stands today. Local sailors swear the beacon sometimes flickers in impossible patterns, and on stormy nights, whispers in ancient tongues echo across the water. Some say Maxwell's spirit still guards his dark discovery. Have you ever noticed strange patterns in lighthouse beams? Share your story below. Did you know that in 1923, the bloodline of an ancient noble family was discovered still bleeding after 300 years? Let me tell you what happened in those cursed streets of Alsace. Baron Henry Delacroix returned to claim his family estate, armed only with dusty municipal records. While searching through witch trial documents, he found peculiar markings matching the layout of Old Town's forgotten alleys. The autumn fog grew thicker as he followed these cryptic patterns through narrow cobblestone streets. Behind a crumbling wall, he discovered a sealed chamber that shouldn't exist. The moment he broke through, the air turned icicled. Inside, 12 skeletal bodies lay arranged in a perfect circle, surrounded by occult artifacts. His hands trembled as he recognized his ancestors' signet rings on those bones. But what made his blood freeze was the center of the circle, a pit of fresh, warm blood that had been seeping continuously since the witch hunts of 1623. As he stepped closer, the blood began to bubble, and whispers in ancient French filled the chamber. The spirits of his ancestors were trying to warn him. That night, Baron Delacroix vanished without a trace. The chamber was never found again. Some say you can still hear his screams in those alleys on foggy autumn nights. Have you ever felt like something ancient and evil was watching you from the shadows?